I am not the ultimate fisherman, but I'm getting there. Interesting start. So there is life out here at least. And actually we're walking right to where those deer went through the woods. Anyway, it's January. It is cold out here in Alabama. Daily lows in the 30s, highs in the 40s, off and on occasional rain. I want to say the upper end of the state got frozen last night actually. So water temperatures have been plummeting, and therefore most of you sports fish are now congregating in their winter haunts. So a lot of the sport fishing has turned into massive amounts of scanning and research to try and find one small group of fish. I'm short on time today, so I don't have that much time to dedicate to tracking down a bigger type of fish. So instead, we're going micro fishing. The same principle applies. Water's colder. The fish are going to want to hunker down into the warmest spot that they're able to find. But at least in this skinny water, it makes it just a tad easier finding those winter holes without having to putter around a gigantic lake scanning each and every nook and cranny. Currently, I'm walking on what's called Fay Branch in Prattville, Alabama. But up ahead, it actually runs into Pine Creek, which is the creek that I fished in an earlier video with my wife. Well, this is the lower end of that same creek. We're gonna poke around in a couple holes here or there and see if we can find anything that's active today. As I say, it's cold, it's cloudy, it's just a miserable winter day. But we'll see if we can't find a couple of willing participants. So we're up here on Pine Creek now, but I'm actually interested in this strange mud hole over here. The creek definitely flows from way up that way and meanders on down the river is that direction. And so we got this little sandbar separating this. I don't know if this is just flood water that's been cut off over here, or if this is what used to be another creek. Maybe it was an old Pine Creek bend until it finally broke around a different direction. I don't know. Regardless, I'm gonna see if there's any desperate hungry fish that have been trapped in this little mud puddle. That is some dirty water. I lost my worm. All right. And today I'm using the size 30 hook, or at least gonna start with that. I'm trying to go as subtle as possible. Size 30 hook, 2-pound test line monofilament, a small split shot, a few inches above my hook, and that's it. I reckon they're either gonna be in the middle where it is the deepest, or they're gonna be right up on the bank hugging cover. Deer. I'm starting to think I should have went deer hunting instead. Adding a bobber to the setup now. If there's anything in here, which there might not be anything willing to bite. Airplane, really? If there is anything in here, I guess it's safe to assume it'll be an extremely subtle bite. So I'm hoping the bobber will serve as a strike indicator so I can pick up on any of these tiny sluggish fish. Whoop. That was something. Little tippy tap. Alright, so there is something in here. But it's either extremely small. Whoop. That was a pretty good little tap. Look at that. All right, now. What on earth? All right. Well, we know there's stuff in here. All right, smaller piece of worm this time. I mean, it was a more aggressive bite than I was expecting. Now I'm thinking my bait is too small. What on earth? All right. You will have to swallow the whole thing then, smarty pants. Good solid bites. He just ain't getting the hook. Hit it again. See, and what part of the problem might be, that bobber is way too big with what I'm wanting to do right now. I have these much smaller little foam ones made by the same people that make trout magnet, Leland lures. And so I'm pretty sure these finicky fish are snatching on this and they're detecting my bobber. And so they're immediately releasing because it's too cold to be dealing with that nonsense. Maybe I just gotta be faster. Give me one good take. Look. All right, upgraded hooks. We're now up to a size 18 from a size 30. Hopefully that a little aggressive bite is a fish big enough to consume this larger hook. Back to our little mound. And if not, then, well, we're probably not going to catch this fish. Got him. Old bluegill. Settle, settle. Oh, no, you are not a bluegill. To the photo tank. Broken photo tank. Upon second inspection, I do believe it is actually a bluegill. His colors are just extremely faded from being in this murky cold water, I guess. But we weren't skunked today, and any day in January you can go fishing and not get skunked, to me, is a success. Not very entertaining to watch, as this is the only thing that I'm going to catch today. So we have to catch something else. It's a different day. It's a much colder day. Current air temperature is 27 degrees. So cold. And you might be wondering, if you couldn't catch anything but a single bluegill on a 47-degree day, why on earth are you out here fishing on a 27-degree day in the same area doing the same technique? And the answer is, as a fisherman, the best quality you can have is willful ignorance. We have walked all the way down to almost the river. We've checked every hole along the way, and there has been nothing, no life whatsoever. I've come all the way back up into Fay Branch, and I was actually walking back towards the car, and I decided, well, I'll come up this way, because what seems to have happened is all of the little fish have vacated the creek and headed for the river for much deeper, warmer, more stable water. My theory is, if all of the little fish in Pine Creek have vacated off to the river, maybe this is too far away, and so they haven't actually run off to the river yet. They've just found a hole, or in this case, a slightly deeper hole with a bunch of rocks and sunlight radiating heat on them. That's the theory, at least. Pretty much this is my absolute last plan that I've got. Thank goodness. Oh my gosh, I finally caught something. Oh, it's been hours. 2 days of fishing, several hours today alone of just grinding it out in this cold, cold, cold water. And we finally landed something. I don't know what it is. I know it is not a creek chub. I know it is not a bluegill. To me, that's all that matters. I'm hoping this is something completely new to make this worth all the effort at all. Good gracious. I went all the way down to the river. Nothing. None of the holes had fish in it, so I assume they all ran off for deeper water. But way up here in Fay Branch, there isn't very many options for deep water, and it's pretty far trek for these fish, whatever they are, to get to the river. So it was just dedication to the sport of catching teeny tiny little fish. But by golly, we did it. 27-degree weather. We caught a fish. Oh, that water is cold. All right, head on back with all your little friends. Oh, thank goodness. But is it possible to catch another one? Can it be done? Do I even want to? Another fish. I'm pretty sure this one's gonna be a chub, but regardless, we caught more than 2 fish. Oh, this is a great day. Pretty sure it's a creek chub, but man, I'll take it. Good gracious. So that's three species. You know what? I'm not gonna be greedy. Also, I'm hungry, so thank you, fish. Go on back now. January. It's a grind. I don't think February is going to be much better. But that's all winter fishing really is just determination to get out and fish. In this case, it might have not been the best plan or the best idea. But the point is, if you want to fish, you certainly can. Sport fish or micros, they both follow the same pattern, which is you have to put in the time to figure out where it is they're wintering. And then even when you find them, you still have to catch them when they're in the mood to feed. That hole back there that I actually caught 2 fish out of was like the 3rd hole on Fay Branch that I had hit. I saw fish in the other 2 holes, but they just refused to bite. They were not in the mood to eat. They just wanted to sit in the sun that thankfully came out. But that third hole, they were ready. I dropped it down. All the little ones hit it first and started a little feeding frenzy until one big enough to finally take my hook showed up and held it. So successful trip, and I think a good lesson that winter is not going to be back-to-back action. It's going to be slim pickings. You just gotta take what you can get. And I'm sure it's going to be like this for the rest of this month and on into next month. So until then, y'all have a good one.